Will a woman leave you the moment that she finds a better deal? She finds a better guy who has something better than you, be it better looking, he's funnier, he's cooler, he has more money, he has a bigger dick, whatever. Is she gonna leave you the moment that she finds a better deal? Now, this is an idea that a lot of you obviously have thought about before, but it's also being pushed when it comes to a lot of dating advice right now, especially in the red pill sphere, where these guys are telling you, if she finds someone who's higher value than you, she's going to leave you. So in order to prevent that from happening, you have to always be leveling up and grinding and becoming better. And they use it as a motivation, but also they're making an argument. They're saying that women will always trade up for something better. And Mimi, hello. Meow, hello. Okay, Mimi's gonna join us. She was going crazy. I guess she wants attention. Women, right? So, are women gonna, if Mimi finds a better man than me, who is better looking, taller, prettier, gives her more food, more attention, is she gonna leave me? Okay, well, it depends on a few things. First, it depends on how much time you've spent together or how long you've been together, right? Obviously, the longer you've been together, the more investment there is in there. You're going to get a mixture of things happening, but one of them is going to be the sunken cost fallacy of, the more time you spent with something, the harder it is for you to break away from it, right? A 10-year marriage is going to be a lot harder to break away from, even if she finds something better. Sorry, my cat is just having a good old time. Maybe you having fun? If she's just started seeing you a week ago and some guy just waltzes into her life who is better, then yeah, there's a very good chance she's going to leave you. For that better option. Secondly, you have to consider her valuation of values, right? A lot of times when people are giving advice on becoming high value, they're not very specific with what actually makes one high value. Or they limit it to they're important things. Like having a high net worth is definitely a good signal of attractiveness to women. In and of itself, it signals discipline, it signals drive, passion, maybe some level of cleverness. But not a lot of women value it as highly as maybe the certain types of girls that they're hanging around, right? Universally, having a lot of money is attractive. I will not deny that, right? Being tall, being good looking, having big arms, a strong chest, ripped abs, having a big dick, good fashion sense, being popular, high status, right? These things are universal attractors, okay? And anyone who denies that completely is an idiot, right? They're just being unrealistic. However, there is a lot of nuance there. And some women will care more about those things than others, okay? This is not necessarily to do with their moral character. That's the third variable we're going to introduce into understanding whether or not a woman will leave you or not, right? But you have to understand what this woman values, right? What's important to her. Some girls are going to care more about your sense of humor rather than if you make a lot of money, right? In fact, a woman who maybe is used to being around guys who has a lot of money, that's just the norm for her. So in one instance, it might be that's your barrier of entry. Like if you don't have a certain amount of money, you can't even get a chance. Or she just doesn't give a fuck about it because she's seen it so much. Okay, so there's a lot of nuance here. And the last one is her moral character, right? You always have to take this into consideration. If a woman has low moral character, then she's always going to look for the best thing and she's going to leave whoever she's with for that, right? And it really might not even matter how good you are. I mean, just think about that situation with Scottie Pippen in Future, right? Scottie Pippen, famous basketball player, played with MJ, right? Super big deal. But his wife ended up fucking Future, right? Just some rapper who happened to be super famous at that time. That's why he made that song, fucked your bitch in my Gucci flip-flops, right? Like, he had just finished smashing Scottie Pippen's wife and then was walking around in his Gucci flip-flops and then made a world-famous song about it, and everyone's dancing to it, clowning on the fact that he cucked Scottie Pippen, right? Okay, that's pretty big shit, right? You were as high status as you possibly can get, but this is a new blood, right? But you probably actually have more status than him. You're just not currently relevant. But she left you because she's a shitty person, okay? So her moral character is going to trump any logical analysis of whether or not this person's higher value because of his relevance or his money or his net worth or he's taller, okay? So that one is a very obvious variable in this equation, and you have to watch out for it, because a lot of these guys that are giving you advice are, let's say, high status guys, right? They're rolling around with money, status, popularity. They're running in certain crowds. And the women who you're going to find through those crowds, for the most part, are going to have a little bit of dubious moral character, simply because if you're swimming around a lot of blood in the ocean, you're going to find sharks. Are some turtles and nice little fishies going to pass by also? Right, not everyone in the bloody water is going to be a shark. But if you're swimming around with blood in the water, there's definitely going to be sharks. And there's going to be a lot of them. So proportionately, statistically, you're going to find a lot more sharks than non-sharks in that situation, okay? All right, so let's go more into the details of each one, but that was the overview of it, and you have to consider those factors on whether or not a woman will leave you for the better option when she finds it, okay? Cool. All right, so starting with the first one, time commitment, okay? If you just met her a week ago and she meets another guy who's better in whatever way, yeah, she's probably going to send you that text and say, hey, you know, I had a nice time on that date or those 2 dates and everything was kind of cool, and then she just shifted gears and you don't know why, and she's not going to explain why, but you get this text that says, hey, it was nice talking to you, I had a good time, but, you know, I just started talking to someone else, or I'm talking to someone else. She's not going to say I just met him, right? Or maybe she was already talking to him, gave you a shot, but then she realized that he's better, whatever situation. Or, hey, you know, I just don't feel the spark. She's going to give you some explanation and you're going to lose her. And it was actually a different guy who was out competing you, okay? Now, if you've been seeing her for a couple months and she's a fuck buddy, maybe not official yet, okay, that's going to be more difficult because you've already fucked her, okay? That's a really strong connection that you have to a woman, right? Even if she's promiscuous, like, if you've had sex with a girl, that's definitely going to have an imprint on her, and definitely once you've passed the hook point. So the hook point that I've seen, I don't know why, it's just a magic number. Once you fucked a girl on 3 separate occasions, not 3 times in one night, right? You could fuck 10 times in one night, but you need to fuck her on 3 separate occasions. For some reason, that magic number kind of locks her in and she becomes a regular thing. Most girls that I've lost before we hit the 3 separate times hooking up part. But once we've hit that, almost all of those girls that I can remember, I would continuously sleep with and would have some sort of a relationship, casual or serious, with them. Okay. So once you've reached that hook point, or maybe you haven't had sex yet, but you've really built a strong connection, but it's not as strong, right? A sexual connection trumps most other connections, unless this guy is literally her perfect fit, right? But for the most part, if 2 guys are competing, the one who's sleeping with her has the stronger, he has home field advantage, right? He's already scored. So the chances of her leaving, even if he's higher value, you got something in your favor, or vice versa. Maybe you're higher value than this guy, but she's not going to leave him because he's already in, okay? And then, of course, if you're already dating, then it's much more difficult. I mean, there's tons of horror stories. Everyone's been cheating, or a lot of people have been cheated on. I've been cheated on, right? A lot of people have experienced it, so it can happen. But usually what actually happens is it's not an instant thing. Like, oh, everything was perfectly fine, and then some guy who's 6 feet tall making 6 figures with a 16-inch dick, fuck my bitch. That doesn't happen, usually, okay? Unless she has just horrible moral character, and then she just right away sees something sparkly in the distance. Oh, I'm gonna go for that. Fuck this shit. This is boring because I'm a psychopath, right? That usually doesn't happen. How infidelity in relationships, the short version, works is that there starts to grow a hole into the relationship, right? And it's usually a hole of either you're not giving affection and love, or she's losing respect for you. It's one of those things, right? Or some level of commitment is not being given, right? You're not taking that next step, getting married, moving in together, having kids that she wants, and a flaw, a bug in the system starts to get developed and grow. And then if it isn't fixed and patched, right, if you don't patch the bug with an update, it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow, and then it's going to corrupt the whole system, and then you're going to have a hole this big, and then some guy's going to stick a stick in that hole because there's been an exploitation of the system. But that can take months or even years to develop, right? Now, a lot of guys, when they tell their horror stories of getting cheated on, they're like, oh, everything was fine. And no, any man who's been cheated on and he tells you everything was fine, there was no signals at all, and then she just cheated on me and betrayed me. Yes, she betrayed you. It was immoral what she did. But you also have to understand that there were definitely signs. The only time there is not signs is if she's a fucking psychopath, or she has some sort of disorder where she'll just go whoop and just flip shit, borderline, bipolar, whatever, right? So there's always going to be a decline in the relationship if it's been going for a long time. That's going to allow another man to step in, okay? But usually if there's a strong connection there, a long-term relationship, marriage, it takes a pretty big hole, even for a super high value guy, to stick his dick into, okay? Now, secondly, you have to also understand, what is she valuing? So there's two categories of value. There's universal values, right, that pretty much every woman finds attractive to some degree. And then there are specific tailored values, personalized values, like what she personally really cares about, right? So you have general ones, which include being tall, good looking, even though good looking is a bit subjective, right? Depending on, she might like certain ethnicities, races, certain types of looks. She may like guys with beards or not beards, right? So it can move in with personalized, but for the most part, if you're a good looking guy, a lot of girls statistically are just gonna find you good looking, right? So if you've been told a lot of times you're good looking, you're probably gonna be attractive to most women on some level, right? Tall, universal. Being muscular and in good shape, pretty universal. Having money, having status, universal, right? Being a good dancer, being funny, being charismatic, being sexy, right? These things are universal, and any man who is a sufficient level of one of those things is gonna be attractive to any woman, right? But some of those universal things are gonna have more weights to them, right? Being funny is always going to be attractive to a woman, but one woman might really care about it more than another, right? So what personalized values are is how much weight they add to those things, right? So if a woman, I remember I talked to one chick and she really valued a guy having a lot of money, and she told me her husband, was rich, and she said, I grew up poor, so I really care about money, okay? And so she told me that was a huge important thing to her, and that was part of her selection of this guy becoming her husband. Now, she wasn't the best moral character because she was flirting heavily with me, and unfortunately that was back in my days where I would still try and sleep with girls who had boyfriends and husbands, and we had sex talks together, okay, texting. So obviously it didn't stop her from kind of disrespecting this guy, right? It was wrong of me to do, but it was just demonstrating that even though this is something she highly values, still that moral character is an opening for some other guy. Unfortunately, it was me in that case. I regret it, but, I made mistakes. That can interrupt what you thought was, okay, I have this thing she values, and therefore she values me, right? So what you actually need to understand is that all of these values are only bridges to a connection that you have with a woman. And the only thing that you can really guarantee is really, really strong when it comes to retaining a woman's interest, in my experience, is sexual value, okay? Because at the end of the day, all these values are going to lead to one of two things: sex or love. And they can become very interconnected. And the short version of this is, because I don't want to turn this into an extra 30-minute video, is lust is a lot stronger than love. And in a lot of cases, lust will lead to love. Not so commonly, love will lead to lust. It's a much slower process, and it doesn't actually last that long. Even if in practice it lasts long and they stay together, it's not a great glue. But sex, lust, is an amazingly strong glue. It's far more powerful than love, okay? So you having stronger sexual value is going to guarantee in a much more efficient way that another man is not going to come in and take your girl. Or vice versa, if another guy is having a strong lust connection with a woman, it's going to be harder for you to win that competition, assuming it's a moral competition where she isn't yet official with this guy, and you might not even know this other guy exists. There's a behind-the-scenes competition where she's seeing both of you or talking to both of you, and someone's gonna win out. But of course, the love aspect is very important, right? I've lost a lot of competitions with guys where I would even fuck a girl, right? But this other guy would end up dating her. And that was because he had long-term value, and I was just the short-term guy, right? I was the guy who's a dating coach. I was the lover. I fucked her a couple times. She had a lot of fun, but she was looking for something serious, and I was just one little last hurrah before she got in a serious relationship. Now, I personally wouldn't consider that a victory, right? I wouldn't want to be him, because I would want a girl where I won both competitions, the lust and the love competition. Which also, it gets really nuanced here. It depends what phase she's in her life, right? Women go in phases. Sometimes they're in serious phases, sometimes they're in lust phases. In either phase, they're open to both, right? If she's in I'm looking for a relationship, she's open to casual sex, but it's a smaller hole for you to get into because she's not as receptive to it. And vice versa, if she's looking for sex, there is a chance that you can come in with love, but it's a smaller hole, and the best way to get into that hole is to have sexual value. But overall, as a determiner of who's going to be a more powerful draw of her heart, is actually going to be with her pussy. The strongest way to a woman's heart is through her pussy, and the strongest way to a man's heart is through his dick. We can over-romanticize it all we want, and of course there's other things that come into play when it comes to connections, but for the most part, it's lust. Trust me, I've given it a lot of thought, a lot of experience. I've seen so many examples where it's just across the board, lust is stronger than love. Okay? So the category here is there's all these little values, and they all have weighted values depending on which individual person. This woman cares more about her sense of humor. This chick is just, she likes tall guys. It's just a thing. It's really important to her. This girl only likes Latin guys, or she only likes black guys or Korean guys because she's a K-pop fan. Or this girl really cares if you have money, or really cares if you have a beard. She just likes guys with beards, or she likes rednecks, or who the fuck knows, right? Personalized values, but these are just extensions of universal values that pretty much everyone finds attractive to some degree, but it's more strong for her. However, at a deeper level, all of these values can really be understood as they're either developing a connection with her, or they're making her pussy tingle. And you know, I guess I could come up with some list like this one is the sex value, this is, but you can start thinking on your own at this point, right? I give you the blueprint. So you have to consider all these things when asking yourself, is this woman going to leave you for a man who's higher value? Well, what does that mean, he's higher value, right? Which value does he have that's more than me? And is it really important that he's winning in that particular field when it comes to me? Yes, these spreadsheets of value, they can give some insight as to like who's winning in the competition, because it is a competition. I won't deny that, right? We have to be honest. But it's a lot more nuanced than a lot of these guys are explaining to you. But this requires you to explain things with nuance and a little bit of philosophical understanding. And that's difficult for a lot of these guys who are teaching dating, because they're, yeah, okay. I just won't say it. Last thing, moral character. Pretty simple, right? If she has low moral character, then she's just going to go with whatever suits her fancy. She's caring more about love. She's caring more about sex. She cares about money. Whatever, she's looking for herself, she's going to cheat the first chance she gets or trade up, okay? But we would only consider it a breach of moral character or a breach of virtue if there has been some sort of agreement, right? If she's not your girlfriend or your wife, it's brutal and it sucks. Maybe you've been working on her or dating her for a couple months, but if she trades up for something better, there's nothing morally wrong about it, as long as she doesn't do it in a fucked up kind of way, right? As long as she, you know, tells you, or even if she does ghost you, it was shitty how she treated you, but the fact that she chose the guy is not what was immoral. There's some distinction there, right? It was the way she treated you that was immoral, but the fact that she traded up is not immoral. But if she's technically with you, has had an agreement with you, you know, for a relationship or a marriage, then she needs to cancel that out before she chooses to go with this other guy, or that was immoral for her to do that, okay? But you have to understand that a lot of these guys giving you this advice are having a lot of bias in their viewpoint, because they're hanging around women in a lot of environments who either have strong personalized values towards the things that they themselves value. I mean, think about it. If a guy really cares about becoming popular on YouTube, making a lot of money, being high status man, you probably are going to attract what you are, right? So he's probably going to attract a lot of women who find that really, really important. Also, a lot of these guys are probably not doing cold approach. I can fucking guarantee it. They are not walking around the streets, walking up to random women. They are finding women who are already pre-selected because of the environment they find themselves in, because that's where the man is frequenting, and he's frequenting places that are a reflection of his inner values of having a lot of money, being popular, and cool guy, and Well, of course you're going to find women who find that important, because you're going to the place where sharks are. Da fucking duh. Okay? So, it's not that simple that women will just trade up when something's better. But I will be honest with you. Yes, if she finds something better and these conditions are you know, satisfied, even if she's a good person, you know, if you're not officially together, yeah, she's probably going to leave you for the guy who's cooler than you, because that's just how it works. Why wouldn't you go for the better thing? Why not? You would do it too. You know, a lot of these guys, oh, women just, you know, hypergamy, You would do it too. If you were dating a 7, she's a great girl, supports you, and then a 10 walks by and says, hey, can I suck your dick? Most guys would do it in an instant. Ooh, I'm a good person. Well, even if you were with that girl, you'd start thinking, wow, fuck, maybe I could do better. And trust me, because as I improved myself in my life, not just in like higher value, but as I learned self-respect, and I just, why shouldn't I have better, right? I didn't get a lot more money. I wasn't, making a lot of money at all. I was just a poor kid traveling around, right? But I started to learn that my standards grew and grew and grew and grew, and I was like, why am I hanging out with this when I can hang out with this? Why wouldn't I? There's no reason. You can find a girl who's just as virtuous and cool as that 7 who you were in love with, who's also a 10, okay? So I get a cool chick who cares about me and supportive, and she's got a fat ass, and she can take my whole dick down her throat, and she cares about me and is sweet and is beautiful and gorgeous, perky tits. Yeah, why not? We can be brutal in our realistic viewpoint of reality. Realistic viewpoint of reality, you know what I meant. But we also have to be understanding, because we are drawn to all the same things that women are, conversely, when it comes to women, okay? So we can't be mad at other people for choosing what's best for them, because why shouldn't you choose what's best for you? So there's been a lot of nuance and context in this video, and it's very complicated, but I hope that it's giving you a clearer picture to understand why women will trade up for other men. Now, if you don't want to become the guy who's getting traded, then you have to be so valuable that you're not getting traded. But being valuable is far more nuanced than just get money, get in good shape. All these guys are spending so much time like, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta get money. I mean, these things are good. Like, you should be healthy, you should look good. It's gonna help a lot. You should have money so you can, afford to live and be comfortable, and you can take care of yourself and take care of your family. These things are important. You should go after them to whatever degree that you think is important. But having the skill of dating is a very unique thing, but it's not sexy to talk about. It's very sexy to advertise. Get money, get big arms, big chest, ripped abs, get a Lamborghini, and fuck bad bitches, while you're driving down the highway in your Lambo and getting your dick sucked by some 10 out of 10 Instagram model, okay? That's a very sexy advertisement, and I get why it's popular, and it's super popular. And if it's leading to you getting success in your life, go for it, dude. I'm very happy for you. But I promise you, it's not the long-term solution when it comes to women. And I find that a lot of the times when guys are selling these self-improvements, they're actually doing this like weird sort of self-delusion where they're like, it's not about the women. It's about being high value and women will just come. Well, but it seems like at the end of the day, you're really doing this no, I'm doing it for myself. That just sounds like feminists who are like, I get dressed up and go to the club for myself. It's like, no, you don't. You can do it so you can get attention from guys, right? It's like when guys say, yeah, I get money and I get high status, just for me. And if women want to come along for the ride, then they can join. No, dude, you're doing it for like so much percentage of your motivation is for women, right? You just got heartbroken and you're too much of a bitch to say, no, I like women. You can get heartbroken and rejected, cheated on, but still say, I like women and I want to succeed with women. So I want to learn how to get better with women. That's the most masculine thing you can do, is to admit that you like women and just get better at that skill, because that's the best thing. Because like I said with the example of future fucking Scottie Pippen's girl, like that guy's super high value, but where was all that value when his wife is sucking Future's dick while he was in his Gucci flip-flops? Okay, didn't really do him a lot of fucking good. Now, did it? Why? Because he didn't pick a good bitch, and he didn't know how to game her and keep her loyal. Right? Maybe his dick game was getting down. Maybe he was just getting tired of her. Maybe he didn't even care at that point. Who the fuck knows, right? He was tired of her shit. He probably was happy she cheated, so he'd have a reason to divorce her. I don't fucking know, okay? But having game is a very specific skill set, and you have to learn how to do that. But every guy is, just like every woman is going to have to some degree personalized valuation of values that she finds more attractive than other women will find attractive. Every man has his own seductive signature, right? His own thing that's going to make him be seductive to women, right? There are universal ideas about women. I'm salivating on myself because I'm getting so excited. There are certain universal things that women follow for the most part, and that's part of learning game. But a lot of learning game is also learning how to take what's in you, your particular setup of like your personality, if you're outspoken, if you're soft-spoken, if you're more stoic or emotional, if you're, extroverted, introverted, sexual, non-sexual, like, your personality has its own particular things. You have to learn how to take that and transform it into a way that's attractive to women. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be James Bond, super serious. You can be a mixture of these things, right? There's so many successful guys out there who are really good with women, right? You can have a Jason Momoa kind of guy or a Russell Brand. Vastly different in their approaches to women, but they're both amazing with women. Or a Craig Ferguson, right? So there's a lot of great seducers out there in the world with vastly different styles, and they both work. And they're going to work with different women to a different degree, but for the most part, they're kind of universally attractive because they're good at the skill of talking to women and seducing women. So if you want to unlock your own particular seductive signature and find out how to make yourself your own personal 10 out of 10, right? Because you have to become that 10 out of 10. There is a lot of work that's involved, but very little of it is about money and status and getting in good shape. Those things help. But for the most part, it's just having skill with women. In order to do that, you have to talk to someone who has skill with women, and that's me. So in the description below, you're going to find a link, click it, and there's a form. You can sign up for a free 10-minute consultation with me, and we can discuss coaching and a coaching program. Usually it's a 12-week program. We'll work together for 3 months, and we'll change you from where you are now to a much closer to your 10 out of 10 version than you are right now by unlocking your seductive signature. So check the link in the description below, sign up, we'll talk, and we'll get to work on making you your personal 10 out of 10. Okay, cool. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, go fuck yourself. I love you. Ciao.